Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to show you how to make a spicy, tangy chimichanga dip. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need bowl. Obviously you're going to need a bowl. A spoon. Right now, as you can see, it's in a nice little container of sour cream. You're going to need plenty of sour cream. It offsets the spice. It gives it a nice bit of a oomph. And of course, you're going to need your sriracha. I prefer sriracha ranch because it's already a bit subdued. Now what you're going to also need, and depending on what you have, you might use it different. You're going to need some spices. Now, off the top of my head, and this is just the way I do it, you can do it however you like, but off the top of my head, I always use a little bit of cloves. Reason being, it balances things out. So you pour a little bit of your cloves in the bowl here. Scoop or spoon in some sour cream. You want to do a couple spoonfuls because that'll be the base. And here comes the fun part. You don't really need to measure much when you're making a dip. It's pretty simple. But what you have to do, you open up your dip, and this one's being a little bit hard on me today, it seems. Use this for a second. Come on. Yeah, this is problem. Spices, it does that. Okay, so you want to use a little bit of ground spice. Probably hard to see because it's mirrored, but a little bit of pure ground allspice. That'll also help to balance out the spice. It gives it a tang. Some minced onions. That's always good. Gives it some nice flavor. And for this, we're going to use just a tiny little bit of celery seed. Now, what we have to do is just one more spoonful. This is a rather good spoonful, but it's good for what we need. And some of you might want to use a spatula for this. Some of you might want to use a big spoon, but I just use the spoon itself, and you basically just start to mix it. You want to not whip it, but you want to fold it a bit as you're mixing it. That'll get everything mixed together. Normally I would use blue cheese, but as of the moment I am out of blue cheese, so we have to make do with what we have. This is why we're using a lot of spices, ladies and gentlemen. This will help out the flavor immensely and not make it completely spiced. Oh my god, why did I do this? So we're going to mix it up very nicely, very fine. As you can see, that's almost like frosting in there now. Yeah, it's whipped up very nice. You don't want to whip it too much, just enough to give it a nice consistency. Make sure you get everything popped back in the container. You don't want to waste a single drop of this stuff, it's amazing. So you're going to want to then take your sriracha. If you're using sriracha ranch, take your sriracha ranch. And luckily for this one, you always want to get one that has like a dropper. This one has a dropper, so it's good. So you gently squeeze it a little bit in there at a time. Then you would mix it up some more just to be on the safe side. I apologize if this has been 4 minutes of explaining simple things, but everything simple is necessary. You want to mix it up nice and good. And if you're anything like me, you're going to want to be very meticulous, because if you're not going to mix it well. You need to mix it just like you did before, like so. And then, I hope you people can hear me when I go away from the screen, but oh well, if you can't, I'll try to get a better setup for next time. Then you're going to want to take just a hint, just the barest hint, ladies and gentlemen, of good old-fashioned cayenne. Because the sriracha by itself doesn't have much flavor to it other than hot. Cayenne will give it a good flavor profile. It also brings out the flavor and everything else. You want just a pinch or two. Just enough to flavor it. Mix it up all fine and nice. Mix it up a bit more. And when you're done mixing all that basic stuff, just to be certain you're going to have volume, you want to mix in more sour cream. You'll notice sour cream is the big thing here. The reason being is that is the base. That's what gives you your volume. You basically want to repeat the process a few times over. You're going to add more cloves. Because cloves is, once again, if your sour cream is the base, your cloves is basically the floor. So, remember that. Sour cream is the base. Cloves is the floor on top of the foundation. It's the basement, basically. Now, that's kind of confusing, but whatever. Alright. You want to add some more ground spice, some more allspice. Now, you'll mix it, and you'll notice that it'll change a little bit in colors. That's good. You want it to do that. That means that everything's mixing well. And then, more of that. Basically, you just add everything more than once. You have to add it more than once because it won't mix well otherwise. Then you mix in a lot more of the sriracha, because now you have a nice base of sour cream and the other spices you want to mix in your sriracha now. You may be wondering, how is it that this will come out and not totally tongue-burning? Oh, it will, but it'll be less tongue-burning because you did all the other stuff in it. This is, like I said, you're doing this with chimichangas. You want something that's going to give you a nice kick, but it's also going to be creamy enough to cover. And that's what this is going to end up being. I mean, look at that. That's creamy. That is creamy. If I tipped the thing all the way over, it would fall on my screen, ladies and gentlemen. So you mix this up quite a bit. You mix it, you mix it, you mix it. See how whipped it's getting. A little bit more celery seed. A little bit more. And if you want to be fancy like me, and I try to be fancy, I'm obviously not, look at me, I'm in a hoodie and a black shirt, but I try to be fancy. You want to add the real peak of resistance. Garlic powder. Garlic powder is your best friend in a dip where you're going to have something spicy. Name of the game, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, is to balance out your spice. You need to do it. It won't come out half as good otherwise. Trust me. I've had experience. Alright. So you mix that all up, you mix it up, you mix it up, you mix it up, and ladies and gentlemen, guess what time it is now? Sour cream. Sour cream time. If you did not guess that by this point in the video, I'm very sorry. But anyhow, so, excuse my bantering, I love to banter, I'm very passionate about what I do here. So we mix it up, mix it, whip, 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 and see how that consistency is getting there? That's beautiful, isn't it? Alright. And ooh, no, that's not good. That is not good. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. My camera fell. It's an iPad camera, as you can tell by the probably crappy quality, but make do with what you have. Make do. You make do. First rule of the cooking handbook, you make do. You're going to mix in another squirt of the sriracha, and you're going to want occasionally, not too much, because you don't want to hurt your tongue on this, occasionally just give it a taste. Needs more cloves. And that's why you give it a taste, so you can tell what you need more of. See, this is going to need a little bit more cloves, because you can taste a bit too much of the spice. See, now you mix it, and you always want it to be just enough to cover the middle, but not enough to get on the walls, because then you're losing half your flavoring. So you mix that up, and just to be on the safe side, a little bit more garlic powder. See how it's nice? I can't show you guys from here, but if you give me a second to finish mixing this, because it's going to fall out if I show it to you by tilting it again. I'll lift the camera up and I'll give you a nice bird's eye view here, okay? It's hard to tell, but you can see it, right? It has a nice off-gray color, nice creamy texture, and you can see the spices. That's how you want it to be, ladies and gentlemen. You want to be able to see the spices, taste the spices, and know you've mixed it well. Because if you can see it and you can taste it, you know you've mixed it. You know you've done it. So this next part I'm not going to be able to videotape because it's going to take a few hours, but the final part of this is basically you stick it in the fridge, you let it sit for a few hours, take it out, leave it in there obviously while you're cooking them, but cook your chimichangas or whatever it is you're going to use this as a dip for. Beautiful thing about dips, you can use them for anything almost. Cook it, arrange it, whatever. Take this out. Transfer it to a plastic container, Ziploc, whatever it is you like to use as a container. I'm not judging. You can, and then enjoy, basically. Use it as a dip. I sometimes use them as sauces. Do what you have to. This is what's my name now? This is Jake the Dipman signing off. Peace.